All right, so let's give it a try and prepare an income statement using some real numbers so we can see what it looks like and some real expenses and revenues. So let's go ahead and look at the Kinney information that you should have. All right, so we have a company, they have incorporated. That means this is a corporate formation, corporate business formation, meaning we're going to use a statement of retained earnings when we get there. Right now, we're just going to focus on preparing the income statement. So for preparing the income statement, I am looking for revenues. I am looking for expenses. So the first thing you might want to do is just go through here, find the revenues, label them, find your expenses. Okay, service revenue. As you saw from your reading, another name for revenue, service revenue, could be service fees earned. So if you ever hear something fees earned, that's another way of saying revenue, just in case you see it. Okay, so there's our revenue, and then expense, 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 expense. Looks like we have 4 expenses. Remember, we said in our notes that we want to list these expenses in descending order. So when you're looking through your data, you might just want to start labeling your largest expense. So let's see, normally salaries is the largest expense for most service companies, and it looks like that is the case for us here. So we have salaries expense first, then it looks like we have our rent, our advertising, and then finally our utilities. Okay, so I've identified the items I'm going to need for the income statement, revenues and expenses, and I've even gone ahead and noted the expenses that will come first. All right, now I get to prepare my income statement. We said we start with that 3-line header, Kinney Company income statement. You have to write the period of time that we're looking at. And it's always for the period ended, now you can say period. Period is a good catch-all, right? But here they tell us the period is actually 1 month, right? We started May 1st, and we're showing the data at May 31st. So the amount of time that has passed is a month. So you can be even more specific and say for the month ended May 31st. If they don't give you the year, like they didn't here, you can always assume whatever your current year is, 2022, 2023, or you can just put 2 X's as kind of a safe catch-all. Pretend that's a straight line. Okay, if you put period instead of month, I would accept that as well. It's kind of a catch-all. All right, we said revenues is going to come first. We just had 1 revenue, and that was service revenues. So I indent and I say service revenue. We just have 1 revenue, so it can move out to the final right-hand column for 5,680. If we had more than 1 more than 1 revenue, we would have had to move in a column and push the final product out. But here we just had the 1 revenue. Expenses, we're going to have more than 1. We said we're going to list them by dollar amount. Salaries expense, we said was the largest expense. So that's going to move in a column, $500. The next largest was rent expense. The rent expense from up above, $350. Advertising expense was the next one at $200. And then finally utilities at $140. Okay, so we had more than 1, which is why we had to move in a column. Okay, we're going to go ahead and total. Anytime you're doing a total, you're going to put a line under it. And let the reader know we're doing a mathematical operation here. We'll have our total expenses on the line below it. Add it all up. I get 1,190. Net income. I do like to skip a line between net income, expenses, and revenue. So I don't know if you can quite see that. Net income, again, we're going to do a mathematical operation. Subtract your expenses of 1,190. Subtract that from your 5,680 to get net income of 4,490. We said this last number gets the dollar sign and double underline. And there is your income statement. Now, a couple things I'm going to go ahead and just show you formatting wise, because formatting does count. We're always very particular about our formatting as accountants. We said 3-line header, right? The name of the company always comes first, the name of the statement, the time period. So if you switched any of those, that would not be correct. Notice we didn't put dollar signs on every single figure here. The rule is the first number of the column gets the dollar sign. So these were the first numbers in each column. And then the last figure gets the dollar sign and the double underline. Because you're, again, trying to emphasize the importance of that net income figure. That's the whole point of that income statement. So you want to let the reader know, hey, that's an important figure that you're going to want to look at. For capitalization, we capitalize the first letter of the first word, but not the second. I know there are rules for everything. What can I say? Okay, you've done your income statement. Just keep that note, keep your notes handy, because if I ever ask for an income statement, that's the format that I am looking for, because that is the correct, proper format. All right, good job. When you get a chance, go on to the next video.